being a boss. You can't say that unless
I went to their website and I was blown away by some of the facts that I found on the website. One was Eureka. It's actually she was the first and only African American female officer in the city of Falls Church Police Department.
Wow, that's a wow. You go, girl.
I'm honored to be on your show today and to be able to share my story. I don't take it lightly at all, and I.
Okay. I'm gonna start off by putting out. I'm not good at stuff. I'm not good at talking about me. I can talk about a whole bunch of other stuff.
I know. I was about to say, let them think their phone, their screen froze.
Live. Oh my God.
Yes, we're live.
We're live, guys. We're live.
We're ready for everybody to get on. I'm gonna say it's Angie and Renee.
It's Angie and Renee, but not Renee.
It is Angie and Renee. Oh my God. It's Angie and Renee, but we have a special guest, LaShawnna.
Hey. I'm so used to being quiet.
I know.
I was like, do I speak or do I not?
hey Facebook,
Hey Instagram.
hey Facebook.
Hey, Facebook, it's Angie and Renee.
You are not Renee. Even during this time, God, we pray for favor because we know that you are able to do it. And He was with him. He pushed him in a stroller. A stroller while he was running. He had him in a boat while he was swimming. Swimming.
Amazing. They let me feel comfortable in speaking, and I'm so grateful for this platform.
Hey, Facebook and YouTube. I can't hear you, Renee. You're mute.
Sorry, I have my computer on mute. I'm like, it's yes. Hey Facebook, hey YouTube. We're gonna try that again. It's
Angie.
Renee. Oh my gosh, we need help.
Yes. So we hear y'all. We are here and we are excited. We have a phenomenal guest that is here.
Yes.
I tell you, like, she's doing some great things. Okay.
Oh, DeCarlo, hey.
Nephew. Yes. So, yes, we are here tonight and we're really, really excited. When I tell you, yeah, we're going to let her tell her own story.
Yeah, I think that should be our wow factor.
It is a wow factor.
Yeah. Let me just say, I read the article in Forbes and the headline, it captured my attention. So I think that needs to be a wow factor. Can you talk about that and like tell people your story?
Absolutely. So my story began April 15th, 1978, on a plantation called Corona State Prison for Women. And my mother gave birth to me in Corona State Prison for Women in Riverside, California. And that's where my journey began. So, I tell people, we talk about slavery from an aspect of 400 years ago. I talk about slavery from an aspect of 43 years ago, because my mother was shackled and chained, giving birth to the dream and the hope of a slave.
Wow. Wow.
And
Wow.
we don't talk about captivity from a prison standpoint. We don't talk about slavery from a prison standpoint. But when someone gives birth shackled and chained, not on a ship, not on a plantation, they didn't even get shackled and chained to give birth on plantations.
Wow. Wow.
Yet in American prisons, this is what women are enduring to give birth. And so,
Wow.
in fact, my mother was a slave.
Yeah.
So
That's that.
that's how life started off for me.
So,
Yeah, I'm speechless. Like I mean, were
yeah.
you allowed to stay with your mom for a certain period, or that was like that was it?
Um, in 1978, that was it. We've evolved a little bit, but not much more. Um, no, I was vendor to the foster care system. And at 17, I was in a prison of my own in Valley State Prison for Women in Chowchilla, California.
Wow.
So
Wow.
the cycle continued.
The cycle continues. And for me, when you say the cycle continues, I didn't even understand the cycle. I'm 17. But what
Yeah.
I did understand was I met my mother's friend on the other side of that gate, and I will forever say her name. Um, Bernice Cubey was on the other side of that gate. And I didn't know that I had to go to prison just to meet her.
Oh
But on the
wow.
other side of that gate, when I got my stuff, she called me by my entire name. And I was like, what? And she said, I've been waiting on you. I've
Wow.
been waiting on you. And I said, waiting on me, why? And she explained to me that if I was my mother's daughter, she knew I would come see her.
Hmm.
And I did not understand in that moment what a detrimental statement that was
Wow.
and what that even looked like to be my mother's daughter. And
Right.
so she told me, I was in prison with your mother when she was pregnant with me.
Wow.
I got to
Hmm.
help name you. And so
Oh wow.
I just, exactly. And so by the time I got to prison, she was already doing a life sentence.
Your mom was, or your mom's
No,
friend?
my mother's friend. My mother's friend. My mother passed away when I was on my way to the eighth grade, but this was her friend. And for me, it was the last link that I had and a connection to my mother. It was her. And she was going to be the person to unravel my mommy issues.
Mm.
See, we don't
So
talk about little girls with mommy issues. That's not a
yeah,
conversation.
Right.
yeah,
Right.
And I try to make it a narrative. We talk about daddy issues. Well, daddy
yes,
can't
we
be
do.
an issue if he was never around. Daddy gave you
Right.
no issue. He wasn't present. Every issue you have your mother reflected onto you about daddy because daddy wasn't here. Daddy did nothing. He was void.
Hmm.
So he
Wow.
can't be an issue. And so I realized, I said, but nobody ever says I have mommy issues. I was like,
Yeah,
I
you're
have
right.
mommy issues. Like, no, I have mommy issues and I'm clear about them. And
Mm.
so Bernice QB allowed me the opportunity not only to step into the role of another mother,
Hmm.
but to dispel all the negative things I thought about my mother
Mm.
and to explain to me that addiction was a sickness. And that if
Right.
I could love her, then I had to love my mother because addiction is a symptom to treat pain.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then I understood. And then I had empathy. And before that, I didn't. I just
So
was, whoa, why me?
let me. So was your mom when you said that your mom passed when you were on your way to the eighth grade? Has she been released from prison at that time, or was
Yes,
she?
my mother had been released from prison. I used to see my mother like outside in the streets. Um, and most days she didn't
Mm,
know who I was, but I knew who she was.
wow.
So you were still in the foster care system during this time.
I was still in the foster care system, and ironically, my foster father was a cop, and he knew my real family, and so he took me to see them. I saw them. I knew who they were.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I knew my uncle. I knew my aunt, and but my mother, she was just too far gone in her addiction,
Wow.
and my mother has 4 children, and everybody got the same raising. We didn't, not by her. Um,
Right.
and now I understand that, in Black communities, we don't go to rehab. They don't give us rehab. They give us prison. And
Mm.
so we can't be. They don't want us to be fixed because prison exacerbates whatever aces you have, whatever trauma you have. So they don't mean for the women in our communities to get healed. And what I
Mm.
understood was I understood better when I got to prison
Mm,
that I looked around at all my friends' mothers and wondered where they went. And I got there and saw them. And I was like, wow,
wow.
Yeah.
like this is where they are. Oh, this is not vacation. Oh, my mom's oh God, they're all here. And I understood in that moment when you take mothers out of communities, you destroy tribes and villages across the country.
Mm,
Mm.
When you pluck out mothers and daughters, you destroy community.
right. Right.
Because even a woman at our worst state is still a nurturer in some form.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when you remove women, you are trying intentionally to destroy community and family and legacy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Um, how did you get to the point now? Talk to us about the rights bill, the name of it, and what do you hope and what do you believe the impact that it's going to make?
Post traumatic prison disorder, Shawanna W76337. Post traumatic prison disorder for me is a statement to say I did not go to the military. I went to a gladiator, inhumane, uncivilized place, and it caused me to be not well.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as we were lumped together with post traumatic stress disorder, I can't take my Medicaid card and go to the therapist unless I want to take psychotropic drugs
Mm.
and receive help. And so I said that can't be the answer.
Yeah.
When you get to prison, they send you to a med line, like without a psychiatrist, without anything. They send you to a med line. And they were telling me here's Elavil to go to bed and Ritalin to wake up. What? I don't take pills. Oh, see, you're
Wow.
confused. There's a pill line in every prison in America.
Wow.
Pfizer, Merrick, and every big brand drug pharmaceutical company is getting billions of dollars from the med lines in prison.
So do they put you in these lines because you have said, "Oh, I'm sad," or
I got off
why
a prison
do you
bus.
even get in
I
line?
got off a county jail bus and got my bedroll in the prison, walked through the gate, and they said, go stand in the med line. No, I didn't say anything. And everybody on the bus was standing in the same line with me. Nobody had
Oh,
seen a psychiatrist. Nobody had anything. It's and when you don't take the pills, you're out of compliance of prison rules. It's a $70 billion industry, and they are there to exacerbate every issue you came in with. And if I didn't come in a drug addict, well, by the time I leave
you
from
leave
popping
for
pills
one.
for what, I'm gonna be one. It's so that
Right,
they ensure residual numbers for recidivism.
right.
So how does your bill, what does your bill do for that?
So I'm asking for a trauma informed therapist to evaluate the person 14 days into their incarceration. I am
That's
asking that they be treated from the minute you're incarcerated,
yeah.
because we can't start at reentry. I'm asking for alternatives to medication,
Mhm.
talk therapy, aerobics, yoga, meditation, art therapy, whatever it is. Let's exhaust every possibility before we go to medication that we can't come back from.
Right,
I
right.
just don't think medicine. My whole hashtag is birthing pain is like birthing a baby with no anesthetic. You just got to go through pain to get healed.
Wow.
There is not a shortcut for healing.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
you're
true.
right.
That's true.
You're right. You are so
Mhm.
right. You're
Mhm.
so right.
Medication numbs the problem, and the root is still there. It's
Yeah.
like we treat the fruit, but we don't treat the root cause of the problem, and we can't
Right.
do that medicated. And so I'm asking that guards be mandated to therapy because they create harm,
Mm.
and they're not mandated to go to therapy. I'm also asking that marijuana, which is controversial for people, be given to people post incarceration as an alternative to big brand pharmaceutical drugs. Because again, if you're going to label us like post traumatic stress disorder, we give it to people from the military, we give it to postpartum moms, we give it to cancer patients, but the people who are doing the prison time for it are never getting reparations, while everybody else now is getting paid for marijuana. So if it will calm a symptom, then I believe it should be had for post traumatic prison disorder. I'm asking for an oversight committee from the Assembly and the Senate to understand what happened after we implemented the bill. That every year there's a review of what happened. If prisons couldn't handle people's mental conditions, then we need to evaluate not sending people there. What how did people turn around? What was their mental health? What was the success rate? What was the failure? What needs to be done better? Because we
Right.
often there's a whole lot of bills with no oversight. We don't
Come
know
on.
what happens once they pass and
And
how they're implemented. I need to make sure people's lives are at stake.
I
indeed.
love that you said you want to hold people accountable, but you also want them to understand like this is not just something I'm writing on a piece of paper.
That's right.
And I love the fact that you're saying that because it also will show that if it works here, it can work in another state. It can work in another state. Um, and I'm also, I don't know if you're doing this, but it sounds like also like you need some type of funding so that you can
Absolutely.
monitor this and you can show that this is making a difference.
Mhm.
Do you have something that you're doing to try to raise funds to try to keep this afloat and to maintain it
So
and everything?
that's what I'm working on right now. So funny. I went to a meeting today about trying to raise funds because I'm a grassroots organization. And, I do take donations, but I'm actually trying to find corporate sponsors. I'm trying to find individual donors because every dollar makes a difference. But legislation costs money,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
Zuckerberg is not funding me. So, you know, I have to depend on community. I have to
Yeah.
depend on, people who want to serve humanity. And so, even if that's saying, hey, my business, I own a radio station, I'll push post traumatic prison disorder out, or I can run a TV ad, or I can do a billboard, whatever that looks like. Or I can write letters to the politicians. I'll be in charge of, going to my local assembly and senators, as well as money, because I don't. Though I need money, money is crucial. I know that people are money too,
Mhm. Right.
and I definitely try to use human capital like it's money.
Mhm. That people's voices be heard. We have to use our voices, and we have to
Yes.
use our experiences, and let them see us.
Yes,
So, mhm.
we're not
Yeah. Yeah.
invisible.
That's right.
Yeah. I'm listening and I'm wondering, it sounds like to me that some prisons should want to partner with you to show that this can make a difference. Have you tried to contact like any to see if any prisons are willing to partner with you, or the
I haven't
medical,
reached out to prisons, but you know why prisons don't want to partner with me?
because you're going to take
So,
away their money?
exactly.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you see, it's a $70 billion business, and if we fix the totality of the human being, they will not come back.
That's
That's
right.
true.
I want to shut prisons down.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
I want
Mhm.
to cut the prison population in half. And when we can make people mentally well, we can make communities well. Nobody,
Yes.
people,
I love that.
for lack of better words, people want to negate the truth, right? I had to apologize to my son. He's 20. And I had my son coming out of prison. And so, unfortunately, my son got the wounded, broken 17-year-old who went to prison, because that is
Yeah.
when I emotionally stopped.
Mhm.
And so he got a fragmented, broken human being in his first court. And nobody ever wants to make amends and say sorry. But I realized 10 years into therapy, the person who goes to prison, when they come home, they're emotionally that person that left.
Mhm.
And now they're coming home raising children in broken spaces and places. You can't get quality when you're broken.
That's
That's
right.
right.
And this
What
is why
made
I'm
you
saying therapy is so important.
so what drew you to go to therapy? What pushed you to make that move?
Because I really realized that I was internally messed up. Like, I had night terrors. Um, I had anxiety. I had depression. I was all over the place. And
Mhm.
my head was my own worst enemy. Like, me and my own mind would do me the most harm. And
Yeah.
I realized that prison caused me to have interpersonal relationship issues. And I
Mhm.
realized that, be it man, woman, or whatever, like, I wasn't a functional person. And I'm like, this is going to block me from being employed. This is going to just block me from living the way I want to live. And it's hard to tell somebody, why you're messed up. I remember coming home from prison with a stinger. And for I know if your audience doesn't know what a stinger is, it's a coil that's metal with a cord. And this is how you cook your food in prison, right? You put the water in the trash can and back in the day. And you put the stinger in the garbage can and it heats up the water. And you cook your food like that, right? So I came home with my stinger.
Oh wow. Right.
I came
You
home with my issue. I came home with shower shoes in my own house in my tub. Um, I even use if I'm nervous, sometimes you'll still catch me. I walk the length of a prison cell, pivot, and go back.
how long were you
It's
incarcerated?
5 years,
Mm-hmm.
and if you do anything repetitiously enough, it
That's
becomes an inbred life.
right.
And I understood in that moment. Oh wow, prison has a lingering effect. And
Mm-hmm.
even though I go to therapy, prison still has a lingering effect. I tell people I have learned to come outside and cope, mask, and play as if. Follow me home at night, I might tick and talk a little different, depending on what day it is. And I've learned
Right.
coping mechanisms. But nobody like how do you tell people that? And how do you have functional relationships when you've brought all that with you? You can't. And so
Mm-hmm.
it will either lead you into disastrous relationships or it'll leave you by yourself because you don't want to damage other people. One or the other.
So what would you tell somebody who, you're just coming home from prison, and I'm here to, or I'll say I just came home from prison, right? And I'm coming back to Renee, right? Renee and I, we were real close, and I've been in prison for some years, and now I'm coming back home. I've been released. How can she help me? Or what are some of the things that she can do to help me and she shouldn't do to
Mm.
kind of,
So sometimes when people come home from prison, the people in their life are looking for the person that left, and that person left when they left.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And so it might be the places you used to go or the things you used to do, those are not the things anymore.
right,
Um, and it might be the best thing you can do is listen. The best
mm-hmm,
thing you can do is check in consistently. Consistency is key. You
okay,
know, and don't be the jailer. Don't be the warden.
mm,
Don't be the correctional officer. Um, and nobody wants somebody. If you've been in prison and you've been structured to never live your own life, I right now don't want anybody to ask me where am I going and when will I be back because I have no answers for you. Just because I'm just not going to answer. You are not the warden, you are not the jailer, and I don't have to answer. And it's not because I don't want to. It's just because I just don't. At this juncture, I've answered somebody for 5 years every day. I can't move without you saying yes or no. And so coming home, I said I'll never answer to anybody again. Well, in relationships, what does that do? That causes issues. I don't have to
right,
answer you.
right,
You don't need to know where I'm going. Mind your business.
mm,
And
right,
if you've never been to prison, then you don't understand what I'm saying to you.
mm-hmm,
Like, I need my independence, and I don't want to answer to anybody else. And
okay,
people don't understand that that was trauma. And people don't understand
mm-hmm,
that every day of my life for 5 years, somebody was breathing down my neck, and I could not be my own human being. And so
right,
now I get up and I do what I want, when I want, how I want, and you have to find somebody that's compatible with your new issues. That's easier said than done. But guess what? There are people out here, but you just have to
Right.
be patient with people. I just
Mm,
think you have to extend grace to people.
mm, okay.
So would you advise, so say like, okay, Renee, she's reaching out to me, right? I just came home, she's reaching out to me, and maybe, I'm a little cold, or I might be like, okay, well, this time I'm not going to answer the phone, or no, I don't want to go over, I don't want to do this. Would you advise for people to like you said consistency is key.
Hmm.
So
Keep
maybe
trying.
keep calling, keep trying.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because the other person literally just went to a place where they were dehumanized, demoralized. They literally were three-fifths of human in its
Mm,
in its entirety. They were really the 13th Amendment. Um, and that takes a while just for them to process.
Right.
And everybody says, when I get home, and then you get home. And
Mm-hmm.
it, coming home is a traumatic experience.
It
I
is.
mean, after they throw you the barbecue or take you to dinner, or there are some moments I sit in rooms of people and I still feel alone.
mm-hmm.
Yes. I was going to ask that question because um, we had a friend and a family who he was in prison for he was in prison for 20 years. And when he came around the family, he was kind of standoffish, and we didn't understand why. And when everybody left, he said, "You have to understand, being in a cell by myself, being in a group, I have to. I'm used to watching my surroundings and
Hmm.
paying attention to what's going on. So that's why it's hard for me. It's not that I don't want to, but I have to learn how to interact with different groups."
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And he told you the honest to God truth, because so like for me, it's seven women in a room in a 12 by 14, right? In bunk beds. So I personally just don't want to be ever again in my life in a room where I can't get out with all these people. I get antsy. I want to be in a free space. I
Yeah.
don't like elevators. Like the elevator gives me anxiety, and
Mm-hmm.
I've learned to get in the elevator and count or close my eyes. I've learned coping mechanisms that maybe people won't notice,
Right.
but I know.
Yeah, yeah,
And so
Mm-hmm.
he's learning coping mechanisms that you don't understand, but he's trying to acclimate himself in the
yeah,
best way he knows how. And
yeah,
so, and I'm glad he actually had the voice to say something, because a lot
yeah,
of us don't, because we think people won't understand.
mm,
Right.
And so just know that, be patient. People will get there. Hold their hand. Ask
yeah,
them, how can I help you? Nobody
yeah,
ever asks, how can I help you? What is it
yes,
Right.
that you need from me? So we can integrate together. What do you
yeah,
need? Nobody says that.
you're
Right.
right.
And
You're
it's
right.
really just that simple.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Because a lot of times we feel like we know, we're so excited and
Yeah,
jealous, and we think that I understand. I've seen it on the movies. Yeah, but you've
hmm,
never been there. So stop.
yeah, different
You know,
story.
Mm-mm.
it's
Definitely.
totally
And
different.
it
It's
wasn't what you
a
saw on
totally
TV
different
either.
story.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Wow.
trust
Ah,
I mean, it's really the
I
reason
know.
at this moment, even though I wrote legislation, I'm actually trying to catch my own legislation. Um, I am trying to, at this juncture, buy a farm in Michigan, um, because I know that dirt releases endorphins. I know that nature changes your perception. It changes your mental health. And
Right.
so I'm trying to buy a farm as an alternative to incarceration, and provide therapists and provide an alternative way of healing.
Wow. So tell us what that looks like. You
I
said
know.
alternative to prison.
Hmm.
What? So tell it like what is that? What does that mean? What does that look like?
So what that looks like is before someone is sentenced to go to prison, that they would be offered the opportunity to come to my farm,
Okay.
and they would be able to grow food. They would be able to live in tiny houses. They would be able to not be in prison and still be in a place they could get help. Because the reality is, people go to prison because we have adverse childhood experiences. And so, um, I work with a therapist. Her name is Dr. Corolla and Griffith Hunt, from the UN, and she's a trauma informed therapist. And she's amazing. And she's on my board and she helps. And I found a therapist in Michigan. Her name is Ebony Crane, and she has a resilience therapy lab. And she has the biopic therapy group. And so therapy is so needed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm definitely calling on young black women and young black men to want to be therapists, because
Mm-hmm.
we don't have enough people who look like us to treat us.
True. True.
And that matters. Like, what you've been through matters on how you treat another human being.
Yes.
And so I'm definitely, knowing that if you can plant flowers, if you can just get your hands in dirt, if you can, like my foster father raised horses, hogs, and cows. I know that if we actually get back to just period as black people, where we came from farming and growing, and you, our grandmother snapped peas and okra. Like, where did we go? And so
Right.
I want to if you give people a holistic environment, they will turn around. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I believe aesthetics are important, and so are environments. And I want to give people an environment and a place um that is comforting and that is calming. And that's what I want to provide in farming. And I want to prove that that works as well. I want to prove that we can heal people and that people don't belong in prison.
Mm-hmm.
And there's actually, there's people that I work with. There's an aging prisoner right now, that's been in prison 46 years. I'm
For how
43
much?
years
How
old.
many years?
40, 46 years. And he's in the Department of Michigan Corrections in Gus Harrison. And this man's old enough to be my grandfather. And so I'm like, you know what? And he's like, I don't want to die here. And I don't want you to die. And so I am trying to raise the money right now, to get this farm, and my friends are helping me because I actually want to challenge the state for the property of the state, because I can't. Like, if there's anything I can do for him not to die there, then that's what I have to do. And I mean, it's property, because it's not, it's property of the state. That's what they say when they stamp you with these numbers. And so I want to get this farm up and running so I can challenge the state for its property, because it has more value to me than it does them. Nobody should be in prison 46 years. That's inhumane.
Yes.
That is egregious. That's egregious. I could not
Oh,
imagine.
I'm
And it's unfortunate that if these
yeah,
were animals, the Humane Society would have already rescued them. But
True.
because
Oh
they are,
yes.
what, and I can't even say that the majority of black people are in prison, because the population is white. So the number of black human beings that and Latin people that are incarcerated is too many. And what we're not saying is, right now, if you look at the data, women and young girls are going to prison at 19% the rate of men. And they're actually committing more violent crimes right now than men. Nobody's having that conversation. Where are we
no.
losing our daughters?
That's
Where are we
true.
losing our daughters? And
You it's
so, go ahead.
it's we had I want to say a couple months ago, it was a 13-year-old and a 14-year-old here in DC. They had called themselves robbing the Uber driver, and he got caught in the car. He didn't want to let it go. The car flipped and he died. And they have been charged as teenagers, but they're saying that, like, in our area, I don't know, it could be worldwide, but in our area, a lot of teens are now going to jail for theft and murder. I mean, it's crazy here. And
It's
now
all
they're at the
over.
point, yeah, and now they're trying to charge them as adults. And I'm just like, and I, these are 16 and 17-year olds, where now they're saying, okay, we're gonna go after the parents and we're going to charge them as an adult. So I'm with you. Like, what can we do to stop this cycle? What can we do because they're babies, but to the system, like you said, you're doing a crime, you're murdering people, you're doing this. We're charging you as an adult, and that's it.
You know what? Let me tell you how I know they're babies. Um, my crime is bank robbery, right? And when I got sentenced, the judge was saying it was Bill Clinton, tough on crime, blah, blah, blah. But in actuality, because I was a foster child, he had the option. There was an
Mm-hmm.
option. My paperwork said juvenile properties of the state of California transferred to the Department of Corrections of California. They're still children. And I don't care what they did, they're still children.
And we're not
And
getting
their
to the
brains are
root
not
of
developed.
why.
But you know what? Poverty breeds crime.
It, indeed.
Socioeconomic disparity breeds crime. The community centers around the country are closed. The churches are closed. Where are the activities? Where are the alternatives? They're sitting around at each other's houses. They're sitting on Twitter. They're sitting on Instagram, Facebook, and Snapchat, and TikTok, and they're bored. You know, um, and you can't always blame parents, because parents are busy at work trying to make money to pay the rent, to keep the lights on, to keep the food. And so
Yes.
I'm not always saying that's a bad one. No, everybody in prison didn't come from bad homes. That's not true.
That's true.
That is simply not the truth. But
Facts.
boredom
You know,
breeds bad behavior.
yes. I had a personal situation where a judge was looking at one of my kids, and he looked at me. He said, "You know what? You are a bad mother. I'm not giving your child to you." And I looked, and I'm like, I'm like, do you understand, like, what I went through? Do you understand, like, all the stuff that I did for my child? I'm talking about sporting events and finances, like all this stuff. You're looking at something and you're just telling me off of what you're seeing right now that I'm a bad mother. And in a courtroom, you can't. What I was getting ready, and I said, you can't say anything. So it was like, you're being held. That's it. And I couldn't say anything at that moment. And there are a lot of parents, I believe, in my situation, where the judge is looking at you, not knowing who your child is, not knowing who you are, not knowing your background, but automatically assuming that this child is bad, throw them in the system. This parent is bad, get out of my courtroom. That's it. So we have to be careful with how we label people off of just
Hmm.
looking at one, maybe a year or a couple of months, and not knowing their entire story. And I don't feel like people take enough time to do that. It's, give me the case, let me read it. I don't want to hear nothing. That's it. And we need to change that.
But that's
Well,
not
guess
just in
what?
the courtroom. That's in the schools. That's
Yeah.
in the communities. That's in the churches. That's in everywhere. Somebody makes a mistake and you're automatically labeled as a bad person. And it's We
And
have
that's
to
not
dig
it.
deeper, and it's not it. A lot, most of the time, I'm gonna say 99.8% of the time, there is a reason why this person is acting the way that they are. And it, like you said, poverty, it could be abuse, it could be so many different things. What you had mommy issues, you know what I'm saying, and nobody ever addressed that, and now I'm
No,
here to be able to try to figure it out myself, and you want to label me as a bad person. I'm gonna calm down because this is making me mad.
but you guess what? And here's the reality. She's a good mother. You know why?
Hmm.
She showed up in court.
That's right. That's right.
Like she showed up. Bad mothers don't show up.
That's right.
And it's funny that you talked about the judge and the prosecutors because those are the people I've been talking to. And you said something really important because you said change it. I need you to understand how powerful that was. Change it. We need to write community legislation for us by us because the system is only designed to railroad us. There's two
Hmm.
systems, one for us and one for everybody else. And
Hmm.
here's the thing. Um, if I'm learning to write legislation, so can every other human in America. I'm not that smart. So here's the thing, right? Civic engagement has to come back. And I'm so glad we're still in February because we got 28 days to talk about Black history. We are no longer going to be allowed to ride on the shoulders of our ancestors. I'm
No.
over it. I need new Shirley Chisholm. I need new Harriet Tubman. I need new Marcus Garvey. I need new Huey Newton. I need new Fred Hampton.
Come
Enough
on.
is enough. It is
Yeah.
enough of us to move the needle. And so, guess what? I want to write another law that judges should not have autonomy and they
Hmm.
should be held accountable for
Come
over
on.
sentencing, excessive behavior, bad behavior. January 6th, there were some judges out there at the White House. They should not be on the bench.
No,
Judges should not have autonomy. And
they
guess who
should.
should be screaming that narrative the loudest? Black mamas.
Yes. Yes.
If we galvanize, we can change it. And I'm ready to galvanize with anybody who wants to change that. All we have to do is write. And if our elected officials don't take it, guess what? They got a season two.
Vote them
Vote
out of
them out.
there. That's
Because the
it.
thing is, we at this juncture, because we're not civically engaged, like like our family in the 60s, we don't
Hmm.
even know that they work for us. They're
That's
not
right.
prestigious. They defecate too, and they work for us. And we don't even listen. I'm on my way to Selma, Alabama, March the 3rd through the 6th, because we're the only people who do not permanently have the right to vote, and we're the people who died for it.
Wow.
If we do not get civically engaged, I'm talking about prison reform. I'm going to be talking about slavery for real on a plantation, because what we don't understand, if they take our right to vote, what state will we leave our children in? They
Indeed.
going back to counting marbles in the jar?
Yeah.
Because once you no longer have the right to vote, you're not a citizen.
That's right.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Like they don't have the permanent
We know
right to
Lyndon
vote?
Johnson gave us 50 years to vote for the right to vote. Lyndon
Wow.
Johnson only signed a 50-year clause for us to vote. It's up in 2032. Where will your children be in 2032? I got a 20-year-old and a 9-year-old. Listen, we do not have time to be
That's
civil.
right.
Listen, we better run like it's 1619 because our lives are in jeopardy. We talking about legacy and wealth. What legacy and wealth if you can't vote?
Wow.
And you said
I'm talking about prison reform
2032?
2032. We got 50 years from when Lyndon Johnson signed it. It's almost up. That's what they filibustering about right now in the White House. And you know what? Everybody on TikTok, but we ain't talking about the vote. Are we crazy?
Yes, because we need to
I
be
can
talking
talk
about
about prison
that.
reform unless I talk about the vote. Because if I don't talk about the vote, prison reform won't matter because
That's
we're going to all
true.
be on a prison. We're
Come
all
on.
going to be on a prison. They taking grandma back too. Like
Yeah,
what are we really like? We're not free. We're enjoying too many things and we're not free enough to enjoy anything.
that's what happens because you dangle the carrot. So you focus on the carrot. You're not worried. You're not focusing on what's going on back here.
No,
We gotta, when people say stay woke, that's what that really means. Be
that's what it
woke to what's
means.
going on around you. When they try to put all this propaganda and all this other stuff to take your focus off of this 2032, that's going to be here like tomorrow.
Exactly. And this
Are
is
you
why
going to
I will be in Selma, Alabama,
are you going to be
March the 3rd through the 6th.
yeah, that's what I'm going to ask. Are you going to be like recording this experience? Are
Yes,
you are
absolutely.
okay, okay, good. Okay, good,
Ab-
good.
because guess what?
Yes.
Somebody died on that bridge for me.
Yeah.
But are we willing to die on that bridge for our children? See, we say we are, but we really not. But
Yeah.
I
Right.
really am. I really am. I'll be the martyr so that my children will not be on plantations. And we don't even think that's a reality. That's how convoluted and docile we are.
Mm-hmm.
Like people are not even understanding right now that Biden is saying things that are adverse to the Black community. Don't believe me, use Google. Listen, he's talking about bringing back $30 billion for drug paraphernalia so that people can do drugs, right? Now he says he didn't use the word crack pipes. Okay, don't worry, you didn't say that. The fact that you're giving $30 billion to drug paraphernalia is enough for me. That means you're going to bring back some drugs to use paraphernalia because last time I checked, people are on opioids and pills. But you're bringing back paraphernalia. That means you're going to bring back drugs. Read in between the lines. I just want us to read.
Yeah.
Read. The man is saying $30 billion for paraphernalia so that people can safely do drugs. But he did not say $30 billion for rehabs in our communities.
Come on.
He did not say $30 million to reinvest in urban communities that drugs destroyed.
Come on.
See, everybody, when you say stay woke, see, Chucks and Pearls didn't trick me. I'm from California. She incarcerated just as many people under the DOJ. Don't get tricked. She's not even Black like us. Stay woke. And
Right.
apologies without reparations is bullshit.
Ooh.
You can say, I'm sorry, and it came with no reparations. You're not sorry. Biden said, oops, I didn't really mean to call you a super predator. Yes, you did. I think we forgot from 1994. And we said we're going to take the lesser of the two evils. No, that's evil and evil. And we really need to stay woke. See, stop letting people masturbate you with masturbate our ears, and they making feces sound like sugar. I need people to read their records. And we didn't do that because we got caught up in Chucks and Pearls and fraternities and Greek sororities. That ain't got nothing to do with Black people. Stay woke for real.
Yeah.
Read
Yeah.
people's records. If you called
Yeah.
me a predator in 94 and everything you ever voted was adverse to my children and my grandchildren, you will never have my best interest at heart. And I don't
Yeah.
Democrat, Republican, or anything else. Like, I really need people to get it together. Our lives
Yeah.
are at stake.
I agree. Where can
Yeah.
people find you? Are you where can people find you?
You can find me at silentcryinc.org. You can find me on LinkedIn at Shawanna Irina Vaughn. You can find me on Instagram at Silent Cry New York. You can find me on Twitter at Silent Cry SV. You can Google my name, which is Shawanna Vaughn, and you can find me. And if you really want to find me, my number is 718-200-2720. Listen, because guess what? I don't have a secretary, and my secretary don't have a secretary because I do real grassroots work. And
Wow.
grassroots work means when my child is arrested, I'll show up at Center Street in Midtown Manhattan. That means that if the kid is shot and you say show up, I'm going to show up. That means I'm going to be accountable for the things that come out of my mouth. Because we got a lot of organizations out here that are top heavy with grant money and there's no fruit of work.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree.
And
I
we didn't
agree.
call during our business hours. Well, what I know is um, crime don't have hours, prison don't
Right.
have hours, and trauma has no hour.
No hour.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Wow.
Well,
We
come
have,
on, y'all.
yes, we have enjoyed talking with you tonight. We put your information out there on there as well, and your website has been up as well. And
Thank
I know
you
for
so
me, I'm
much.
definitely going to follow your experience March 3rd through the 6th while you're in Alabama.
Yeah,
My prayer is with you for safety, so that you can get your point across and, get there and get back home safe because there's a work for you to do in the community.
Amen.
absolutely.
Yeah. And when
Thank
you
Amen.
have
you,
something,
lady.
please let us know. And if we're available, we are more than happy to come help, support, whatever
Yeah.
you need. But we definitely be
Thank
praying for
you.
you and pushing your
Looking for
initiative and what you have. Definitely will
looking
be.
forward
And
to
I
that
just want to tell
farm.
you, yes. And I
Yes,
just want
we
to tell
want to
you,
come
thank
visit the
you.
farm.
Yes. And I just want to tell you, thank you for allowing people to use your platform to give voice to people's stories, to people's
Yeah.
dreams, to people's life.
Amen.
I'm grateful for your platform that you allow people to share.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. That's what it's about. Each
Yes, it
one
is.
teach one.
Yes.
So we know stuff, but we don't know it all. So
None
we,
of us. That's
Right.
why it takes
yeah,
all of us.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly. It takes
Yes.
a village, and we really truly appreciate you coming and being so transparent,
Yeah.
giving us, dropping those nuggets of wisdom. Some things we didn't know. Um, so thank you. And we look
Absolutely.
forward to hearing more about what's going on. So,
Yes. And
Thank
I have
you
one more
so much.
question. On your
Yes,
website,
ma'am.
silentcryinc.org, do you have a link where people, if we want to people want to donate, can they
Yes,
go to your
I
website and
do.
donate?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay.
all
Okay.
right,
Your
y'all.
website is up, everybody. If everybody, I don't care if you give 10, $20, whatever it is, it'll definitely help the initiative and do what needs to be done. Definitely let us know if you have the opportunity, because I'm going to speak it, that you're going to be able to go before Congress and speak
Yes,
and get this bill passed, that the things that you need are going to come and it's not going to be an issue or a struggle getting them. So that's
Amen.
definitely going to be my prayer for you and
thank
for your
you.
nonprofit and your farm, because I'm looking
Yes,
forward to coming and seeing it being built and different things. And
yes,
you mentioned Michigan. Um, we had a guest on our show, and I messaged him, Percy Glover. I don't know if you heard of
Yes.
him. He's in
I
Michigan.
have, and I've not yet got to meet him because I just got there.
Yes,
He's
yes.
out of Flint, Michigan, I believe.
Yes.
Yes, yes. So definitely you two connect. If you need any information on anything, just let us know and we
Yes,
will connect the dots.
Yep.
thank
Sure
you
will.
so much, ladies.
Yeah. All
You are
right.
more
All
than
right.
welcome.
We appreciate you. Have a wonderful night.
Yes,
You
Thank you,
too.
everybody, for watching, and we will be
yes,
back next week.
yes.
Um, Great
Go
topic.
donate, everybody, too. Go
Yes.
donate. I'm gonna donate too. Everybody donate something,
Thank
please.
Something.
you.
Yes.
That's right. Write a letter. Donate $1. Well, more than $1.
Yes,
But
more than
donate some
$1.
money and write some letters.
Yes.
Thank you so much, ladies.
You're
You're
welcome.
welcome.
All
Good
right.
night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Yes. Yes.